We are out exploring one of these brand new homes that are in the neighborhood across the way from us. A really great opportunity for him to take a look at things. And I love looking at new construction because a lot of times there's a question about how things are put together. And one of the things that I really notice, and I am not knocking the craftsman that put this in here, as you're going through here, just look at all the nail holes that are in all of the trim. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is taking a look at how tight their joints are here. And I can feel that joint there. Again, it has to do with the underlying framework. I can see down there, that's a gap, okay? A couple of gaps there. It doesn't look terrible. I'm not getting super nitpicky, but for example, this one's got, look at the gap there. Okay, so what are they gonna do in order to fill all of these gaps? And this house has pretty much been trimmed out as far as I can tell. There's a few, no, I think that they've got all the trim work done in here. They had the crown done in the other room. All of the doors here are completely done. Again, look at that. Again, super nitpicky. You know, if you're looking at their reveal all the way across, it's not the same. These guys are just trying to slam together houses because they're getting paid based upon how many houses they are putting together like that. So here's another great example. If we're looking at this wall here, okay? And again, all of this is predetermined by what the framing looks like behind the sheetrock here. So how are they gonna fill all of this? How are they gonna turn this into a room that meets the standards of the people that are gonna move into this? This one, I can see that one. This is kicked out on the bottom here. I don't understand quite why that looks like it does. They did cope the back of it, but that is, I guess, long story short, a lot of paint and a ton of, come on, a lot of paint and a ton of filler, hole filler. But I just would absolutely hate to be the person who is going through doing all of the rest of the trim work. Well, not even the trim work. I wouldn't mind doing the trim work. All of this stuff looks pretty good as I look at it as far as the finish. And you can see that they've been rough with this, but they also know that the person who is gonna finish this house out, and this may be, my guess is that this is gonna be a flat finish on the wall, okay? Flat finish rather than an orange peel, which is what used to be done back in the day. More than likely, they're gonna do a flat finish, like a rolled texture on it, and it's gonna hide. Like once they paint all this stuff, it's gonna hide so much. And I used to, for like a very short period of my life, every single day I would come into the same room exactly like this. Sheetrock, and every time I turn around, I gotta open the door up here. So I get that the guys that are doing this, women that are doing this, I've seen several ladies that have been working on a couple of these houses. They understand what the tolerances are, and they understand what'll cover, what'll hide. And I think that's one of the things that is a mark, I'm not gonna say of a craftsman, maybe just a person that works in the trades, but when you get like what's gonna ultimately look good when everything is finished, then you know what you're doing. So for example, like looking at this banister, you can see all of the joints are a lot tighter there. Got like a 16th reveal there. Looking at some of these here, that's a much tighter install there. Even with this oak, they're gonna come back through and they're gonna fill a bunch of these holes. And you can see then you get down to these things that are gonna get filled with paint and caulking. Honestly, caulking is an amazing tool, because it is a tool. Once you get all of that done, man, stuff looks good. It is really cool, especially I think for him to have the opportunity to come out here and see as they put together like a whole neighborhood and get to take a look at each one of these and just watch it go through the process. It's interesting here as I look at some of this underneath that they actually went through and used MDF or medium density fiberboard. But again, you can see that they've started to caulk some things. So that reveal or that joint that used to exist between the siding is now being hidden because they've gone through and they've put in this bead of caulk. And maybe you can't see it, maybe the shadow is really, really bad, but I don't know if I can get an angle here. There's caulking all the way down there to make that look nice. So I thought it would be interesting just to take a look at some of the finish work that's being done in a house and take a look at how that, you know, gives you your finished product. Here's a great example. There's some of the caulking there. Maybe not such a great job, and you know, this is gonna get wrapped. They do know that that MDF is gonna get wrapped with some type of finish here. I mean, if you can look across over here, you know, at this house, you can see that it really doesn't matter because that's getting some type of either vinyl or steel finish on it. Anyway, thinking about new houses and new construction and stuff like that just made me think about that stuff, and I thought I would share sort of my thoughts, having I only worked in that trade during the summers for about 10 years, but that's a lot of experience. And so what it does, much like my time when I worked at McDonald's, is it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable with what I see in there. It makes me feel comfortable that the people that are building this stuff don't need to be second guessed because they do this every single day, need to be trusted. And there are builders that do a better job and there are builders that do a worse job. But honestly, if you're doing the same thing every single day and you've got the same crews coming in behind you and doing the same finish work, doing the same trim, doing the same siding. If you start with the first house and you go look at, not at their model, but if you go look at some of the houses like in the neighborhood that have been done, and you take a look at the craftsmanship, you know, did they caulk every joint? Which the answer up there is no. There's a couple things that need to be caulked. You know, that's where water starts to get into your house. And it's not necessarily that water is going to come in your house and flood your house. It's more so that water gets into the materials like MDF, gets into the materials like the OSB, gets into the materials like the sheetrock. And that stuff is not designed to withstand moisture. Moisture destroys things, so you end up with mold, that kind of stuff. So if you want to get a bead on craftsmanship of the house, you know, in a neighborhood that you're taking a look at, find one at this stage or maybe a different stage, and maybe you don't even have a whole lot of choices, but you just know what to look for. So if you've got a 1-year warranty or something like that on your house, you can just say, you know, for example, these windows up here, I look at some of these joints right in there where water is going to come up against that, and just say, can you have some guys, you know, put together a punch list, come back over here, and I'll put together 50 different places where I can find with it. Tell them to bring a caulk gun and they can get their stuff done. Anyway, I don't know what happened, but in the last week it went from 96 degrees every single day to, I think it's 75 right now. The other day it was 25% humidity. I mean, Hurricane Ida is what drove a lot of the humidity out of the area. But man, just a beautiful afternoon here. Great Labor Day. Thank the people in the trades that make your house and your comfort possible. Thank you guys. Have a great one.